Start talking. Hello and welcome to the 30th annual, well, it's not an annual publishing party because we didn't have one last year, but the publishing party for the 30th annual publication of LSR. It's been a journey getting across the 30-year line, especially personally for me, as I've been the editor for 2 years. And my name is Maeve, Maeve Flynn, and it's been wild getting to the point we're at right now. But I'm so thankful for all the artists at North and the writers and just all the creatives at North who have supported and continued submitting and working towards getting this magazine out. And I'm thankful for all my editors, Nia, Jessica, Jeanette, and Jim. Last year we had Tracy. It's been an evolution to get here. And it's wild to see the publication party take on this format, as for years we would have parties and catering and people would be able to mingle and talk and see each other. And now we can't do that, which it makes sense for safety, but there's a soreness to it that we can't all be together and celebrate each other's art. But this would not be happening without the help of Stage 1, which is wonderful to allow us to, in some form, gather together and celebrate each other's art. Today we will be listening to many different of our artists this year and our writers, starting with Randy Yamanaka, who will be reading.
Well, thank you very much, Maeve. My name is Randy. Thanks so much, Maeve. My name is Randy Yamanaka, and first of all, I want to thank the Licton Springs Review so much, because even during these horrible times during a pandemic, they still give us the opportunity to share our voice, and we greatly appreciate it. My story is from the POV of a woman named Betsy, who's a warehouse worker, and the title is Pisser dans un violon. I still think about her a lot. She came to work at the warehouse 2 years ago. She learned quick, too. There aren't a lot of women here, and I'm the one who's been around the longest. And we don't have any that look like her, that's for sure. It's not that she was beautiful, but she was different looking, real mysterious and quiet-like. Her name was Kat, which I thought was something clever she made up. But then I learned her full name was Catriona. Never did learn her last name, but that's okay. Some of the guys had their eye on her until she filed a complaint with the HR on the foreman, Bud. He got fired for saying lewd stuff, and the floor super got busted down to the loading docks. Well, the guys left her alone after that. The gals did too. She didn't seem to mind, though. She just kept about her business. So we got a break room up on the top floor, and every lunch hour, I watched her from the window. She would go out to an old white van in the lot. On the sides of it, you could see where some words used to be. David's Chili. And I kid you not, she would go into the back of that thing and disappeared for a solid hour. Wouldn't fire up the engine or anything that I could see. Must have been damn cold inside. Nothing's worse than a Montana winter. One day, curiosity got the better of me and I knocked on the back. The door slowly opened. It creaked real loud like it hadn't seen any WD since Reagan was president. And she looked out at me while chewing, kind of in slow motion. She was wearing a big parka with fur on the hood, and she was holding one of them packaged fruit pies, like a little Debbie or something. And we just looked at each other because I realized that I didn't have anything really to say, so I just said hi. I tried to smile, but I have a chipped tooth in front, so I don't smile that much. Then she opened the door and went back in, and she left the door open for me. I put a knee up on the bumper and crawled in too, but my knees ached from the years of working the floor. The van was pretty clean and still had some racks and a sink in it from when it was a rolling restaurant. She sat with her back against a wall and a big open book on the floor.
Licton Springs Review. Give me this opportunity to share my works, and sorry.
She reached into a paper bag and pulled out another one of those pies and handed it to me. Cherry. I'd rather have had apple, but I thanked her and tore the wrapper off. She just nodded and picked up the book and laid it back across her legs. What you reading? I asked. She didn't answer me at first. Her eyes just stayed down on the pages. Her dark hair fell over her face, and she just kept chewing. French book, she said, kind of muffled. You learning French? I asked, taking a bite from the pie. Some of the filling dripped down my chin, and I swept it up and licked my fingers before she could notice. Uh-huh. What for? She just shrugged her slender shoulders and looked up. Because I'm going to visit Paris this summer. Going on a trip, huh? She nodded and then looked down at her book. I kept chewing for a while. Finally, I felt like I had to say something else. Teach me some. Some of what? She says. I pointed to the book. She closed it and set it aside. She said, Bonjour, je m'appelle Kat, et vous, comment vous appelez-vous? She told me that meant, hello, my name is Kat, what's your name? And I answered her, je m'appelle Betsy. And she said, bon. She said that meant good. I was pleased. After that, she would start teaching me little phrases in French while we worked on the floor. One day she taught me pisser dans un violon. I asked her what that meant. She told me it meant that life is as meaningless as pissing in a violin. And then she laughed. For the first time I've known her, she laughed. And her teeth weren't perfect either. After that, every time something bad would happen at work, we would just say pisser dans un violon and smile. Nobody else knew what the hell we were saying. About once a month or so, I'd knock on her van door and she let me in. She always had extra fruit pies and hot tea in a thermos. One day I asked her about the van. She told me the van was her dad's, but he was dead now. So I asked her if he was David, the David on the sides of it. And she said, no, that was her brother who died when he was 6. She didn't tell me anything else, and I wasn't about to ask. As the weather got warmer, I could actually smell some of the spices they had used to make the chili. Well, I'd saved up about $5,000 in my checking account, so one day I got up the nerve to ask her if I could go to Paris with her. I told her we could split the motel room, and I didn't snore much. She just shook her head and leaned towards me and whispered, don't tell anyone, but I'm not coming back. Well, I thought she was kidding. Nobody left this town and nobody quit this job. It's got union wages. I just figured she didn't want me tagging along, but I was only sore for a day or so. Then one day in June, she took me out to her van. She opened the back and I saw 2 big suitcases. She handed me a package wrapped in brown paper. A taxi pulled up. She kissed me on both cheeks while the driver put the suitcases in the trunk. As the taxi left the lot, a reflection of the sun blinded me for a second, and when I looked again, she was gone. When lunch hour was over, CJ started asking everyone where Kat was. He needed her on the forklift. He came over to me and asked if I knew. Well, I was just standing over the package that I just opened, looking down at her French book. She went on an errand, I said. Well, don't that beat shit? Who told her to do that? I got a big shipment in Bay 3. When's she coming back? She's not, I answered. Now, I'm not one of those sentimental idiots, but I think a tear fell onto my new book. Kat's van was towed out of the lot the next day, and pretty soon everyone else forgot about her. But every night, I fall asleep learning French, and in my apartment, hanging on the fridge is a postcard of Montmartre and her handwriting on the back. Pisser dans un violon. I want to thank.
Oh, go ahead. Thank you. Thank you so much. Next up, we have Nanan. Let me find. Is that Ethan?
Yes.
Cool. Hello, Nanan.
Hi.
Thank you so much for volunteering to perform. The floor is now yours.
Yeah, thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my story here. Okay.
Hold on.
My story title
Hold
is
on.
A
One sec. Sorry. Switch. Oh, one sec. Sorry. This is a new format.
My story is about a gift from grandma. The title is A Gift from Grandma. On May 21st, 2005, I arrived in Seattle, the United States by airplane. I can never forget that day. It was sunny and slightly hot. I was full of curiosity and excitement about the city. I arrived at my apartment by car and was about to send an email to my parents to report that I was safe. But I received an email from my mother first. She said in the email that my grandma in GC, China, passed away of illness last night. Last night. That means I was on the way from Beijing to Seattle. Tears flowed out of my eye instantly. I looked at the watch on my wrist. Grandma gave it to me as a birthday gift when I was 14 years old. We were poor at that time. We didn't have extra money to buy such a thing. But Grandma knew that I liked watches. So she spent 12 Chinese currency to buy this watch. This watch isn't new anymore, but I really cherished it. I have always taken it by my side and never left anywhere. A cute puppy is drawn in the middle of the watch, and 12 numbers are arranged around it. There are signs of minutes hands and second hands between the numbers. There is also a circle of white stainless steel case around the dial, which make the watch brighter than the inner parts in pink and purple. The crystal made of plastic. This protects the dial and hands from any type of damages. There are some scratches on the crystal. I'm sure these scratches can be easily removed if I take to the watch repair shop. There are 4 small blue buttons on both sides of the dial, which are used to adjust the watch. The button on the upper right corner can light up. This feature helped me a lot in the dark. The strap color is pink, made out of rubber. The 10 small adjustment holes are evenly arranged on the right side of the strap, and there are small purple flowers printed on both sides. To close the strap and hold it around the wrist, there is a buckle made of pink plastic. The plastic strap loop is next to the buckle. The strap is delicate and smooth, and it is very comfortable to touch. The case back is made of black plastic, with the brand and origin of the watch engraved on it. You can secure it in place by snap-on. This watch needs a battery to run. One battery can last for about 2 years, and changing the batteries was very simple. I wore the watch that my grandma gave me, which not only brought me love, but also brought me hope for life. When I was in the college, far away from home, this watch always gave me encouragement every time I encountered difficulties. When I was studying late at night, I put my watch aside and listening to the tickle sound of the watch. My brain was working, and my knowledge was enriched little by little. It seemed like my grandma was there and was telling me not to wasting time, keep studying hard. The strap of this watch is too old and can no longer to be worn. In my purse, in addition to my wallet and car keys, there is also this watch that my grandma gave me. This watch is only about $2, but it is so precious to me because it represents the care, love, and longing for my grandma. If changing the time is as simple as flipping the hands of a watch, then I will definitely modify it to the days I used to live with my grandma. Thank you.
That was, sorry. Wonderful. Our next performer is Fumiko, and I will spotlight them right now. Hello. Okay. Now.
Okay. I'm going to read a poem called Hair Power, and it's going to be a little bit of a shift of mood from Nana's beautiful essay. Of course, it was my hair all along, those stubborn, untamable coils that has dictated my life to be extraordinary. Huh. Even before they found out my invisible almighty God is a foreign God, those mean girls shunned me from the circle, as if my unnaturally natural absurd curls would infect them. Plus, I was disgraceful, traitorous, abandoning the mythical sun god who formed our country with mighty chopsticks. You see, my hair was occasionally useful, like my Iowa-grown Tolkien husband could easily spot my unruly spilling curls in a sea of thousands of dazzling straight black hair. Usefulness, helpfulness, all good, don't you agree? Other times, kind of confusing, like when a neighbor lady complimented my flawless Japanese. Really? You made me speechless, lady. I suppose practice makes perfect. I've been practicing it since day one of my existence. Or when a small restaurant owner worried if I could tolerate the soy sauce flavor. Huh? Soy sauce equal my mother's cooking. I so often dreamt about it while consuming all American shitty cafeteria food at college. Did America alter my identity that much? Or was it just a reverse culture shock? But of course, their intense gaze fell singularly on my ever more expanding hair in the densely humid land, trapping them in their misguided perceptions. My sister laughed nonstop on the train back home. Then comes another twist. Or is it a reverse culture shock, if there's such a thing? Ever since we, the husband and wife, moved to the States, I have received giddy gawks, spewing admirations for my gorgeous, or is it glorious, curls, countless times. 180-degree shift. Still the same hair. What the heck? Certainly, other opinions exist. Like my daughter's friend once declared, bird's nest. Bird's nest. I'm sorry. My daughter was more upset than I was. Bird's nest, ramen noodles with loaded seaweeds. I love metaphors. After all, my hair possesses such a defining power to mesmerize people, create grand illusions, and make my life one of a kind. Hey, what you looking at? Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your wonderful poem and your wonderful hair power. Okay, next on the list we have Kwan, so let me just pull them up.
Hi. Ready? Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Licton Spring Review, for giving me this opportunity to share my work and my story. I used to write travel journals when traveling to document what I saw, heard, smelled, and tasted on the road. I also make sketches by using pens and colored pencils to serve as kind of illustration for my diaries. For example, like this. Yeah. This is one of my, oh, sorry. In February 2016, I visited Fujimi Inari Shrine, which is one of the famous shrines in Kyoto, Japan. The shrine is located at the base of mountain, also named Inari. I strolled along the trail up the mountain. I encountered a tea house near the trail. So a wood tea house in the mountains with a stone lantern clad in a thick fuzzy moths in the garden, the smell of the greenery permeated in the chilly, humid air. Among the deep, serene forest of tall, dark trees, lush bamboo, and bush with wildflowers, I was immersed in a peaceful mood, drinking a cup of tea.
That was amazing.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your lovely travel journal. Next up, we have sorry, you're Kwan. Next up, we have Salem. So let me just pull up Salem. Okay, are you ready?
Yeah, well, it was really nice hearing from everybody. I didn't prepare a story, but I'm just gonna tell my story. Yeah, okay. The work I submitted is titled Fruit of Light. I drew it when I was taking art class in my first year of North Seattle, and the painting was inspired by international students. It's been 3 years since I came to the United States, and it was so hard for me to fit in, integrate with domestic students in the United States, and I just wanted to draw a piece that represented all international students, because I feel like we have a hard time to fit in. We feel isolated, lonely, coming from different countries and not having family members here. And I think that should be expressed through art, and it could be expressed through anything really, but I wanted to express it with my art. And I love still life paintings, and so I drew a still life fruit. That's why it's called Fruit of Light, and it's lemon and mandarin, and I always think of them as in they harmonize for me in a way that lemons are sour and mandarins are kind of sweet and tarty. So I painted still life picture of that to like represent the harmony and difference and diversity, and so that like no one feels like isolated or left out or like an outcast. And so I hope I'll write a better story for the next time I join, hopefully. But that was my inspiration to the painting of Fruit of Light. Thank you so much for the opportunity, guys.
Thank you for explaining your wonderful artwork to us. Next, we have, I believe, our final live performer, Colin. There we go. Hello, Colin.
Hi.
Hi. So, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm all ready. Thanks for having us here. Like, it's really nice to be invited to talk about the stuff that you made, right? And so my drawing, this is it behind me. It's about a game. It's about a game called Titanfall. And in that game, you like run around, and then eventually you get one of these giant robots that you can pilot. And the game is all about like, it's mostly blowing stuff up and basically like murdering people. But what got to me about it was the relationship that you develop with your giant robot, because you get inside of it, you drive it around, and you develop this kind of rapport with it. That's really cool. And so what got to me was I wanted to know more about or basically invent more about what they do in their time off when they're not murdering people. And I thought that would be nice to talk about, right? To show. So this thing is, it's charcoal and compressed charcoal pencils. And what I did was I have a model of this thing. And so I just took a picture of it and I drew it. Then I took a picture of my wife eating a burger. I just slapped them together. And that's it. That's how you do it. And I started, if you want to take a look at it, I started a second one It's like halfway done, so I can like hold that up. But if we don't care, that's cool too. Oh. Here, I'll push it back. Yeah. So that kind of gets to the like, they're kind of like bonded psychically. And so they, feel the same things. Yeah. It's really interesting having like a regular sized human and a gigantic thing to take care of you. It's a fun relationship. That's it. Thank you.
That was our final live performer. And now we are going to a recording of Nora Suarez, who will be explaining her artwork or reading?
Explaining artwork and say where she's from or where she is right now.
Explaining her artwork and saying where she is right now.
No,
No, sorry.
she's in Germany. That's
She's
why she
in
hasn't
Germany, and that's why she has to explain her artwork. Sorry. Now to her.
Hello everyone, my name is Nora Suarez, and I just wanted to say I'm very happy to be here, very happy to be part of Licton Springs Review Publishing Party. Although I could not be with you live, I wanted to just take a moment to, thank Licton Spring Reviews from the bottom of my heart. I'm very grateful that you chose one of my sculptures to be featured and published in this, important publication of our program at North Seattle College. So thank you very much for selecting me. I am truly grateful and appreciative, and I am just very thankful. Thank you. So I just wanted to speak a little bit about the piece. It's a sculpture, and this is one of the images from a series of images called Self-Portrait, a Self-Love Story. So this piece explores both my sense of self during the initial COVID-19 lockdown and my life transition to full-time artist. It expresses a range of emotions from inner turmoil and self-doubt to joy and wonder through form, color, and manipulation of the medium that I chose for this particular piece. So Self-Portrait, a Self-Love Story speaks to my feelings of isolation in lockdown after having moved to a new city and a new country. I now live in Munich, Germany, and have been doing everything remotely and also learning a new language. So this art piece encourages the viewer to have a love affair with themselves by practicing self-empathy, kindness, patience, and just acceptance of who they are, and to accept those feelings and embrace those feelings of self-doubt, those feelings of transitioning through life. I feel that that's really important, and it's something that I would like to encourage my viewers through my art to be accepting of who they are and where they are. And it's easier said than done, but I feel like once you get to that point, sometimes life can seem so much simpler. Anyway, again, I want to thank you for choosing me. I'm very proud of being part of this big event, and I am so grateful, and I can't wait to one day have a copy in my hands of this publication. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, everybody, for communicating with me. And I know that we're at different time zones, and I just don't know, I'm very thankful. So thank you, and I hope that everyone enjoys the piece. It's wonderful. I love it, and thank you so much. So please enjoy. Have a good day and enjoy the party.
Yeah, all right. Thank you so much. Crossing time zones with our publication party. That's impressive.
That is impressive. Yes. Just more expansive.
Yeah, so what time is it now then?
It is 5:30.
Not what time is it on the clock. What significant thing is going to happen next?
Oh.
I think it's time for the publication.
Yeah.
I think we should probably let them have the
Yeah.
publication. The folks who decide to watch us today, You get the very first access to the publication. These links have never been sent out before. Right now, our epic intern Elizabeth is up in the booth dropping them into the chat for you. There's 2 versions you can get right away. There's an EPUB version. There's a PDF version that also works on readers. I happen to know that EPUB version looks great on an iPad, just saying.
It does.
And we'll also have links posted to LictonSpringsReview.com where you'll be able to get them. Wait a day or 2 before you see them. There was a lot of work. We are actually finishing this publication today. I want to thank both of these 2. Jessica did a great job organizing the readers for this party, and Maeve has been our managing editor for this entire year. And I've been lucky enough just to be the faculty stiff who unlocks doors for them. But thank you all for joining us tonight. Maeve, Jessica, thank you. Nia and Jeanette, I hope you guys are out there somewhere.
Yeah.
Thank you as well.
Thank you.
And Elizabeth, thank you in the booth.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you.